ask for it or not. And I'll jump in here real quickly, just under apologies to people. We ended up, we forgot to press the record button up front. Just to quickly summarize, we had comments from residents, and primarily all that we've really been talking about is just dealing with our new rules for the property, relationships with tenants and management, improvements that we're making, and a little bit under new personnel for the property. So that's been the quick summary. We're just getting financial reporting. Only item from financial reporting of note really is that the United CT is shut down their funding, which is going to cause some issues with us trying to help our tenants and have to deal with unpaid balances. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, and so Bernie, we can change that presentation. That's no problem. We'll going forward, we'll leave the names off unless it's an actual move-in.
Thank you.
Sure. And with that, Nicole, if you could hop into the conversation and go through your management report.
Okay, I'll start with building projects, considering you guys have already gone over vacancy and AR. So with building project, hold on, there's feedback. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry. Oh, no, excuse me.
It's a great and all-powerful Nicole, speaking from behind the curtain.
Is it muted now? Yeah,
Yes.
The acoustics are horrible here. I agree with the
Heard about
resident. Okay, so I'll start with the building projects. Rick did touch on this already, but all the appliances are in. The gas conversion notice has gone out. Bernie mentioned that earlier. That will start on Thursday at 8 a.m. Our electronics communication system has been identified. We are in the process of collecting preferred method of contacts for our residents. We have had one no heat call, which no heat is considered an emergency, so we've been addressing that. Spring clean, we've identified a landscaper. Spring cleanup and landscaping will begin this month. We're just waiting to finalize a few loose ends on the paperwork. We did have to unfortunately tow one vehicle this month. So there was one towed vehicle from the property. Under compliance and tenant issues, we've leased one unit. We still have four households in legal. We have a pending reasonable accommodation request. And we held a meeting with the resident liaison, Louise Simpson. Did I get that title right?
Yes.
Okay. We had one grievance hearing, one appeal request, and we had our resident meeting again today, and one will be held tomorrow. That notice has gone out as well. And we've the update of the policies and procedures were distributed, and residents are still picking them up throughout the next 2 months. And today we were notified that we will be extending the date which those rules will become effective, which will be July 1st as of right now. In regards to staff, we have a new hire. Her name is Amy Hernandez. Residents were able to get to meet her today. She started on 5/2 actually, May 2nd. And we still have the same request for a maintenance office and or vehicle that on the request list. That will conclude the report.
Any questions from board members? Yes, Peggy.
I just have a question, Nicole, on the in your management report, the accounts receivable went up substantially for phase 1 and phase 2, came down for I guess, the mill apartments. And I was wondering, is that, those two went up substantially. And I'm just wondering if from last month, and if that, and from Rick's, end of March report, just wondering, what is that attributed? Is that just 1 month's rent? They went up that much?
That is correct. I'm seeing the increase coming from the 1 month's rent.
Okay. All right, thanks.
And I think, Rick, you had also, there's hopeful progress as far as the maintenance person, or?
Yeah, I've identified a second maintenance person. I interviewed him, Gunnar interviewed him, and I am likely going to make an offer, hopefully tomorrow, if not by Friday, and see if we can't get him on board in the next couple of weeks.
Super, that'll be big. And Nicole, do we actually have like a date for spring cleanup? I mean, as we said this month, but is it closer to like next week or closer to end of the month?
Closer to the end of the month.
Is there any way that we could get at least like a lawn mowing or something, just an intermittent to get started, or?
That's what I'm working on. The lawn mowing should be happening weekly. We're ready to go on our side. I just don't want to allow the vendor to start without having the proper certificate of insurance to make sure that if there's any issues on the property, we can come back to them.
All right. Any other public questions for update from committees and staff for Millport? All right, quick update under Canaan Parish. I mean, Peggy, I think, did you attend the meeting today, or? I mean, I checked out the last minutes, and David, I'm sure that you're updated too, and we'll get a quick report from you, but it seems like things are moving along relatively well there.
Yeah, we don't have any issues with construction progress at the moment. I think the concrete work's all finished, steel work's all finished, framing is starting.
Framing started this week.
Yeah, it's moving along well.
We'll keep pushing along, and I know inside of my business, we're just continue to see some spot shortages such as copper. And you're like, oh, well, that's kind of difficult to build without this. So it's interesting, and hopefully they've already purchased and got it in the warehouses, and we'll hope that continues along well.
Well, everything I'm reading is that it's probably going to get worse again before it gets better. There's been, some major lockdowns in China that's probably going to impact the supply chain again.
Now, there's a whole, to be optimistic is to be foolish at this point, which,
Yeah.
But you have to be, otherwise you don't come to work. So, anyone have any questions on Canaan Parish? I have one or two things to go over there inside of executive session, but don't know if we have any other public. All right, any unfinished business on our list? I don't think so. I think we pretty much closed stuff out under timing. All right, and new business. I know that we'll end up having some executive session discussions under rules and application of stuff, and there's a couple other technical things to go over and some specifics. Is there anything that any board members would like to add on rules or other stuff in public format? Yes, Peggy.
The reason I wasn't on the call with AP today is because I was over at the rules meeting. And I appreciate the folks that came up to me afterwards and we talked. And I think hopefully we'll have a good open forum. I talked with Louise at some length. Spoke briefly to Wendy, spoke to Cindy as well. And hopefully we can have a good dialogue. They gave me some good ideas. I'm going to pass those on to Westmount. See what can happen. And so I think it's hopefully people felt listened to, and also maybe understanding and we can get a good dialogue and find that balance. So I appreciate you, the folks that had the courage to come up to me and thank me for coming, and also to we're all part of the team. So
it would be wise, since we're part of the team, that you discuss it with the board and we deal with it together with Westmount. You're not our representative to Westmount. We should work as a team.
I realize that, Bernie. I plan to bring it up, but those are things I want to talk to Westmount about.
Good. We'll all talk to Westmount together jointly.
Well,
This is the
again,
public meeting.
yeah, and I appreciate again that there's been a lot of people that have come up and spoke under stuff. I think the vast majority of what we have ends up being a communication issue that the substantive items, I think we can work through with this discussion. And again, sitting in other people's seats, you end up getting a better understanding and seeing it. And we'll get this, and I think it is a vital part of us trying to go ahead and make the property into a making the 10% of people who want to push the rules, making it much more difficult for them and much more easy to go ahead and get around this. And our intent is, of course, to not make the 90% of the people who are all great feel uncomfortable or feel not heard or feel put upon. So I think there's plenty of room for us to move into a great common place and be in partnership on that. And I know a lot of people put in a lot of effort on it. So I appreciate, again, those efforts.
It was really, Scott, just one sec.
Sure.
Is it okay if I say? something?
Sure, go ahead, Cindy.
Just that Peggy came just meant so much to me as a resident whose family's been here over 100 years. To have a board member at the meeting today meant so much.
That's great. Super. Well, thank you,
Thank
Cindy.
you
and thank
again for coming.
Well, it was my pleasure. I hope, keep this dialogue going.
Thank you.
All right, so if there's no other public business, then I think we'd be time to move into executive session. Could we have a motion to move to executive session?
Make the motion.
Seconded by Tim. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Very well. So at that point, if we ask the public to please sign off, and we'll move to executive session real quickly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks all
Bye-bye.
for attending. Appreciate it.
Thanks all.
So in executive session, do we turn the recording off, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just give me a moment to do that.
Yep. So don't say anything